Good morning, Michigan FFA. As educators and advisors, we often find ourselves having concerns for our students. However, once in a while, we have a student that we downright worry about. For me, this was the case with Courtney. I never worried if Courtney would get her work done or how she might do on the next test. She has all that under control. I also was never concerned about whether or not she had prepared enough for contests or if she would complete the tasks that she was asked to do as a chapter or a regional officer. She was always on top of these things too. What I worried about with Courtney was where the nearest hospital was. You see, Courtney has some pretty significant food allergies as well as asthma. One of her food allergies is dairy, but here's the irony. She grew up on a dairy farm. This tells you a little bit about how tough she really is. All of my worries were verified during state convention in 2015. I received a call from one of the parents that was helping chaperone to let me know that Courtney was having an asthma attack. The parent informed me that she was having some trouble breathing, turning a little blue, and that an ambulance had been called. It's hard to explain how concerned I was as I followed the ambulance driving very fast from the Wharton Center to Sparrow Hospital. Looking back, if I hadn't been so worried about Courtney, the high-speed drive through campus would have been pretty cool. However, when I got there, my worries were somewhat calmed. There sat Courtney, looking a little less like a Smurf and smiling like she always does. Courtney really is almost always smiling, but don't let that fool you. She really is tough. I found an anonymous quote that sums this up. Red hair doesn't come in a bottle, it's in your genes. You can't buy fire, you're born with it. In fact, one of Courtney's great qualities is being able to tell you just how wrong you are in no uncertain terms, but she does it in this really sweet way. I think it is this combination of toughness and compassion that has helped Courtney with being successful in school and in FFA. I also know that this unique combination, along with her other great qualities, will make her successful no matter what path she chooses in life. Michigan FFA, your Region 6 State Vice President, Courtney Wangler.
Theodore Roosevelt once said, "If you believe you can, you are halfway there." This quote brings to mind one of my first memories of Loren's determination. In the year 2000, I found myself looking through my semi-window at my little co-pilot and my keys. He had been watching me untarp from the best seat in the house, but when he went down to the floor, his little fingers hit the lock button. Two problems, because I knew his young mind had no idea that a lock even existed, and two, he had never been able to climb on the driver's seat by himself before. But I thought, hey, we'll give it a shot. So I motioned him over to the window, and I watched him fail, repeatedly. After a while, he backed off and looked at me, and I thought he had given up. But no, he zeroed in on that seat, gave his full half-inch vertical leap, which he inherited from me. Sorry, bud. And he clawed and tugged and pulled his way onto that seat. And that's when he gave his famous belly laugh. I motioned him to the lock and motioned for him to pull it up, and we were on our way. Who would have thought this little brown-eyed boy would be my lifesaver that day? Yet he was. This is who Loren is. He is able to overcome obstacles that seem impossible. He is smart, determined, and innovative, and he's always looking for a new way. Loren, your family is very proud of the man that you are, but even more amazed at the man you're trying to become. Keep yourself in the word of the Lord and walk in his ways. Michigan FFA, it is my privilege to announce to you, with his retiring address, pursue your passions. Your state FFA president, Mr. Loren Gregory King.
Only one way to feel all have something in common. We're all in this room together, we're all involved in the FFA, and each of us has dreams. However, there's also something that makes each of us different. For instance, our cell phones. Now, many of us have one, but each is just a little different. From the outside, it may look as though these phones are all almost the same, but in reality, they represent something unique to us. They're a reflection of what we're truly passionate about.
Think about it. Depending on your passions, you may have a lot of music apps, bunch of games, or if you're like us, a bit too much of everything. Just like we all may have a cell phone or an object we made unique, we all have a passion that lights a fire in our eyes and ensures a path that is different for everyone. In our lives, our passions will be challenged. Events will happen that'll make our passion seem out of reach. We will ask ourselves, should we continue to follow our dreams? Or should we give up and try something else?
No matter the circumstances, we are meant to achieve our God-given purpose with our lives. That is no more obvious than in the story of Ji Ying, or the Girl of Hope. Now, this girl was born in China during times of huge changes for the country. She may have led a normal life, except for one small problem. Ji Ying was born with severely deformed feet and was not considered a viable citizen in the country at the time. So she was left in front of a police station in a blanket with her name and birth date written on it. Now, this may sound terrible, but there is so much more to it than that. In China, it was punishable by death to leave your child in front of a police station. But Ji Ying's parents believed in her future, and they had a hope that she could succeed. That act of caring from her parents saved her life. Because of their courage, she was able to enter an orphanage, where she received surgeries that gave her the chance to walk. Something that we take for granted every day. However, she still hadn't found her passion, something that would guide her throughout her life. Ji Ying lived in several homes throughout the first 8 years of her life, but the majority was spent in the orphanage. That all changed when she was adopted. This was a chance for the Girl of Hope to not only find what she was passionate about, but share it with those who cared about her.
I had finally made it to my senior year of high school. However, that also meant it was my last year on the Ogama Heights equestrian team. I decided that this year I was going to compete in the jumping class. Now, I never competed in this class before, nor did I have a lot of experience jumping, but it was my dream to compete. One day, I called my coach and asked her to give me a chance at jumping. She said we would try at the next practice. I could not wait. The day that practice came and I prepared my horse Moon. As we walked out to the arena, she stopped me and said, "Practice is over, wait until next time." I did wait, however that was her answer time and time again. I would prepare my horse Moon, and as I'd walk out to the arena, she'd stop me and say, "Practice is over, wait until next time." This went on for 2 whole months. We practiced the same patterns over and over again. I was not growing as a rider, and I especially was not learning how to jump. After another unproductive practice, I told my mom that I want to become a better rider and get out of this rut I'm stuck in. In response, she gave me a number for someone named Audrey.
The family that adopted Ji Ying spent a lot of time with her in China during the adoption process. It was in the hotel pool during that time when her passion became clear. Lap after lap, the girl swam. She swam so much that they went to that pool every day. Her love of backstrokes, butterflies, and dives was so powerful that she was enrolled in swimming class almost immediately after returning to the United States. Although not as fast as the other young swimmers, Ji Ying was doing amazing. She was getting faster and stronger, every day. But then came the surgeries. It turns out all of that moving around while on club feet was causing her hip to separate, meaning she would need multiple surgeries over the course of several years. Each one meant that she was kept from the pool for weeks on end. But that did not deter the girl of hope one single bit. As soon as she recovered, it was back into the pool. As the years went by, the opportunities continued to grow. The girl of hope was introduced to the coach of the United States Paralympic swim team, who told her that if she kept working, she could qualify for the team by the time she turned 18. She attended swim camps where she met other young swimmers pursuing their passion for the sport despite their disabilities. Even though she continued having surgeries, her times got better and better and better. She was so fast that she began to swim faster even than the kids who swam without the same challenges that she faced. She was so good that she was only 2 and 3 seconds behind Paralympic qualifying times. Ji Ying kept going.
After about 2 weeks of practicing with Audrey, she had me set up a practice with my coach. The day that practice came, after my mom, Audrey, and I set up the obstacle course, I jumped on Moon and we took off. Each jump felt like we were flying. Then we came to the hardest obstacle in the course. I had already fallen off at this jump a few times before. We took the jump and landed successfully. We then quickly turned to finish the course. After finishing the course, I looked over to my coach, and she had not even been paying attention. Audrey looked at me and said, "Do it again." I did, and this time my coach paid attention. She sighed and said, "We will try at districts." I was elated. Moon and I continued to work harder and harder to prove to my coach that we could jump. Then it was the day of districts, and I was so nervous. Before my jumping class even began, I had to make it through 4 other classes. The minutes dragged on like hours, and as the time began to inch closer towards my class, I became exceedingly more nervous. I was so afraid to fail to complete the course that I even considered packing up and going home. But I could not bring myself to do it.
Ji Ying works harder and harder towards her goals every day and believes that her passion for swimming will guide her towards a path of life and exploration. You may have caught that I switched to the present tense. That was on purpose, because Ji Ying's story didn't happen years ago, it's happening now. In fact, you may have met her. This champion of the impossible is an FFA member just like you. She lives in Michigan just like you. And she's in this room just like you. Because when the girl of hope was adopted to America, she was given a new name, JC Renee King. The girl of hope is my little sister, and she can do the impossible. My sister overcoming her physical disabilities to not only reach her goals, but exceed them, is proof that our passions can guide us through any circumstance and into all adventures that our hearts say to follow.
It was finally time for my jumping class. Moon and I entered the arena with butterflies in my stomach. I looked to my mom, then I looked to Audrey, and we took off. We flew over the first jump, then the second, then the third. It was not the prettiest, but so far, it was one of our best runs yet. Then we came to that hardest obstacle. Moon took the jump and landed successfully. He then quickly turned towards the next jump. As he galloped away towards that next obstacle, he left me behind in the dirt in front of everyone. I was devastated. My coach was right. I couldn't jump. As my mom grabbed Moon, Audrey helped me to my feet, looked at me and said, "Are you ready to finish your ride?" I met her gaze and truly was afraid to embarrass myself more, but I shook my head yes. My mom gave me a boost on the Moon, and we finished the course. We did not win that day. And honestly, that was one of the most embarrassing experiences in my life. However, I had gained a passion for jumping that day that made me want to continue on. I may have fallen down, but my passion pushed me to try again. I may not have won, but my passion pushed me beyond my limits. Someone can tell us that our passions are not realistic, but we cannot listen to their words. Words are only words, and if we allow our actions to speak for us, we can overcome anything that confronts us. Our lives will lead us to a crossroads. We can either choose to take the road most traveled, the easy path, or we can choose to pursue our passions, what we love, and put all our energy towards achieving our goals.
We can believe that we can have the lives that we want, that our huge dreams are possible, and that we will achieve greatness. Let's pursue our dreams, our impossible goals with such passion that we love every single second of our lives, because when pursuing passionately, anything is possible. Each of us has a dream that can seem unreachable, a passion close to our hearts that we are not sure it is possible to accomplish.
But there is a reason you feel this passion, a purpose deep in our hearts that helps guide us towards making the impossible achievable.
Making friends with new people, that sports team that we think we can't make, that blue ribbon at the fair that seems too far away, pursue them.
That big book you want to read, that hard yet amazing dish you want to cook, traveling to another country to learn about their culture, pursue them. Because your passions are not only achievable, they are surpassable.
Because there's always an opportunity to take what we're passionate about and reach for goals beyond what we ever thought possible. Michigan FFA,
Pursue passionately.
Hey now, this is my desire. Consume it like a fire. 'Cause I just want something beautiful to touch me. I know that I'm married, 'cause I am down on my knees. I'm waiting for something beautiful.
Courtney, your love and dedication for our organization has shined through in everything you've done this past year. Whether it be our early morning practices or our late night meetings, your bright smile and selfless attitude has impacted every single one of us. From the southernmost officer to the northernmost, thank you for a year full of laughter and smiles. Michigan FFA, our Region 6 State Vice President, Courtney Wangler.
Loren, or LK, or Mr. President. Your passion for FFA, agriculture, and family have shined throughout your year of service. You're the reason our team has been so successful this past year. I know that each member that you've met this year has truly been impacted by you. Michigan FFA, our state president, Loren King.
Something beautiful, and the water is rising quick.